this team spent like a week on this thing I wanted to work on, and it was completely wrong.
Yep.
Because I did not give them enough context, and I don't think they understood what I was talking about in those posts, in this blog posts and articles that I've written. How do I, without being a micromanager, up in their grill every minute, how do I get that context across to them in, how do I fix this problem, Dave?
So I've been dealing with this for decades. It's my first experience with remote workers, offshore workers, non-U.S. contractors was a team I still work with today.
Okay.
They were in Siberia. They are no longer there because they don't want to have to live in that country right now.
Escaped.
They escaped, essentially. Yeah. But for a long time, I mean, I call them the Russians. Yeah. And it was this team of Russian programmers in Siberia, really talented guys, great guys, have become friends of mine.
Nice, yeah.
Yep. But so I would instruct them do this thing, and they were a team that was initially hired by somebody else. Somebody we actually had to sue, but that's a whole other story. We never sued the Russians. Yeah, that would have gone sideways real fast. But I found the same thing that you're describing here. And so, and I was frustrated by it. And then what I found was, and I don't know how or what inspired me to shift my thinking on this, was what really helped me was when I started to learn their cultural norms. Okay.
Okay.
And then I could understand, oh, I see. I used to joke, and it might not be too big of a stretch. But I used to joke, I don't think that there is a Russian phrase for quality control. And what I meant was that they would just write something. They were about 12 hours off from me, right? And their schedule was such that they worked from about their time, 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. So 2 a.m. my time, maybe 1 a.m. my time to 1 p.m. my time. So the path was I would stay up late, which I do anyway. I would give them instructions from like 1 a.m. to 2 a.m.
Yep.
Then I'd go to sleep while they worked. And then I'd wake up at like 9 a.m. and see what they did, and then we had a couple hours to like go back and forth on it. Invariably, especially in the start, I would give them the instructions. I would go to sleep and I'd be blissfully asleep while they were rolling out completely broken versions of this software live in production.
Nice.
And yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'd wake up and I'd be like, what the,
Yeah, what'd you do?
What'd you do? We got to fix this. This is now instead of this being a nice collaborative thing, this is an emergency. And it was the third or fourth time that this happened that I realized, I need to tell them in the 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. slot, here's what I'd like you to do. And then get it ready on a test server for me to test at 10 a.m. when I am back here ready to rock. And giving them those instructions was what they needed, right? That was to solve that one problem. But it never dawned on me here in the U.S., that is atypical. You would not just roll it live to production. Every programmer understands, but they didn't. And until I asked them to.
More explicit instructions.
But it not explicit about everything. Like I didn't tell them, and make sure to use Java to do this and use version 7. Because then they'd be like, dude, why are you treating us like this? So
that's my concern is I don't want to... I don't want to treat them like, they don't know.
They're children.
Yeah, they're not. They're very talented
people. So you have
to
figure out, and that's where I say learn their cultural norms so that you are like surgically choosing which things to nitpick and micromanage and then which things to just completely leave alone.